More innovation from other world computing. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from OWC is founder Larry O'Connor. Hi, Larry. Great to see you again.
Yeah, likewise, Fred. Always glad to be on.
Well, you have been a true pioneer with the company dating back to 1988. Looking at you, yikes. Is that possible? Tell us a little bit about the story to begin with.
It started by a true need in the space to help people get more from their systems and make it reasonable to do so. Certainly in the '80s, late '80s, Apple was put out there's a pretty closed system, but there was great capability to enhance, take these systems further, and from internal upgrades, and we got into external storage, which needed some help. One of the things that we're still absolutely true to, this very day is advertising true performance specifications. What our product does in the real world, what these solutions, how they perform in the real world, not just interface speeds or these hypey burst speeds, but what they're going to do in the real world so that you can count on these solutions to perform for your applications and your workflows. Whether it's just backup and you want to know your data is going to be backed up quickly and safely, or a really high level, high intensity workflow where a frame skips or any kind of glitch happens and you lose a track. I mean, those things can happen, and we give you the solutions that, well, quite frankly, these things don't happen, and that's what we've been about. It's real solutions for real needs with real honest specifications and well, performance reliability you can count on. But that's over 35 years now. And it keeps we provide stuff like this. When you provide hardware like this and software like this and a complete solution with a great team that has passion for it, we are our own customers for so many of these things. It makes it easy, and it keeps you young.
Oh, and you started this when you were pretty young too, I think, obviously.
Yeah, just about out of close to getting out of high school, or maybe you're starting the high school journey, but nonetheless, glad to be here today. All the same.
Just terrific. And as you alluded to you've really helped a lot of people, including me, extend the lives of their technology investments.
Well, it's before I mean, I don't want to use the word sustainability. To me, it's common sense. Grew up in a waste not, want not home. I mean, make things last. Take nothing for granted, and that's our natural resources. I mean, people resources. I mean, our time is a resource. So all that certainly comes into the solutions that we provide.
So you have some new solutions, really some of them aimed at content creators, a really important space today.
Yeah, well, everybody is. I mean, almost everybody today is probably could be considered a content creator. Whether you're shooting for a major motion picture or taking care of your son or daughter's baseball, soccer team, volleyball, whatever it might be, or just your family moments. I mean, we're all creating a lot of media and a lot of content. And it's not just obviously media and how to say photography, audio, and such. You may be doing your taxes. You may be creating spreadsheets, you may be writing a novel, whatever it may be. These are solutions that we truly build at a professional grade for everybody. I mean, I think it's really cool. And this has been, something OWC's done for literally decades now, bringing out professional grade solutions that people, the teams producing, what you're going to see on television or on the big screen, that those same solutions are accessible and affordable to be brought home for, even if you're just using backup. But everybody's data is important, and everybody deserves solutions in general that are going to work. Same goes for docs. I mean, we don't have time to have things fail, and we're never going to be the least expensive solution on the market, but we're that solution that's always going to work, and you're not replacing it 6 months or a year later when it should have lasted 5 years longer.
Right. So you mentioned docs. So tell us about what you have out there. And you've got some new capabilities for your Thunderbolt Go dock. Tell us about the dock and these new capabilities.
Sure. Well, I guess we can get to the new products, but if we want to look at our, just because the hardware, I mean, the Go dock was revolutionary when we introduced it, about a year or so ago. And it's not just hardware that we do here. We also are engaged with software development and software enablement. In this particular case, we didn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, we're certainly part of the equation, but introducing Thunderbolt share support on the Go dock, which is going to be more and more interesting, I think, as time goes on. Right now, it's a nice enhancement for allowing you to do on a Windows platform what you can pretty well already do with our dock on a Mac, but being able to plug our dock in between two computers, use one computer is I would call it a pretty cool virtual KVM to be able to use the same keyboard and mouse to control two systems, share screens between the systems, transfer files between the systems. I do look forward to, someday I hope where it could be two different systems next to each other, where again it's completely transparent and almost non-noticeable to the user, where which screen is on which computer doesn't matter, but you're simply just moving your mouse across to go from system to system, from application to application, and you can use the best hardware for whether it's for different work purposes, whether it's controlling two systems, that I say for productivity, or you got your gaming on one, you got your work on the other, and it's nice that you can have it all connected in one place where, which screen you use and when you use it is, well, whatever the time of day is and, what time it is to do, how to see either work or play. But these are tip of the iceberg things. I mean, it's all these solutions are about bringing more from your technology.
And it's nice that people who invested in the dock are getting these new capabilities through an update here.
Yep, every GoDock owner has the full Thunderbolt share capability and license. So it was retro enabled for every one of our customers. It's not something new they have to buy or an update they have to pay for. It's there.
And you've got some new innovation in the Envoy line. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the Envoy now comes in a smaller size. Super high performance. I mean, fits in the palm of your hand. I mean, it's, up to 2 terabytes. It's the fastest, pretty much about the fastest 10 gigabit USB 3 solution on the market today, sustaining data rates of close to 1,000 megs a second. So super fast, really nicely priced, and also really, really durable for, being traveled around with. So whether it's, for home, just as additional backup or additional storage, or even taking it places, it's like all of our Envoys, it's built really well and it's built for performance. It's built to provide those higher sustained data rates, not just, fancy, flash in the pan and then it slows down. These are things so you can get work done, get data transferred, and enjoy your day and not be waiting. I was just talking to somebody this morning that talked about an export that took 30 minutes, for a school project. And it was because of the drive. I mean, they spent the money on an SSD, but it wasn't the SSD that they thought they were getting. And there's another creator who talked about our drive, our new Envoys, taking about 2 minutes to transfer what one of our, actually a couple of our competitors' drives took over 10 minutes to transfer. And that was only 30 gigabits a day, 30 gigabytes of data. If you're working with some of the if you're working with a 256 gig, SD card or CF Express card, you can multiply that number by about 10. We literally, I'm a Star Trek man. I like I like Rathacon, and Scotty's back and forth for the days instead of minutes instead of days instead of this kind of thing. And this is literally, if we're saying hours, I really mean minutes with our product. But if you do use that product, it's going to be, it'll be that first time that you really, really don't want to hear.
Just beam it right over with it. But people, like you said, people are maybe confused. They think an SSD is an SSD and, there's nothing else to think about. And there is.
Yeah, not all SSDs are created equal, not for longevity and certainly not for performance. So a lot of drives will read at relatively high speeds, but the write is very significantly different between drives. And in fairness, people still have experience. Well, a lot of people still call hard drives, anything that stores data, they call a hard drive, whether it's an SSD or a physical spinning drive. And you're right that, they look at SSDs as all being the same. As a 1 terabyte SSD, it says SSD. They show similar speeds, even though they're really only talking about maybe what that drive can write for a short period of time. But there's relative to what people have experienced, SSDs are so fast. Sometimes they don't even realize, what they're missing. It's kind of like you're driving. I mean, you have a car that goes on the road, and you thought this vehicle had the same capabilities as this other vehicle because of its top speed. And when you have to make that rare pass, you don't even realize that this is slower than what that other vehicle could have been doing. And with an SSD, it's the same way. I mean, they are fast. I mean, NES for the most part, just about any SSD is any SSD is faster for most functions than a spinning drive. But it's pretty crazy that the a lot of the SSDs that people buy past that initial burst speed, they can actually perform as much as half, one third the speed of a spinning drive, because drives have gotten faster as well. I'm getting way into I'm convoluting things other than to say our drives in real world performance, even with USB, we're not even getting into Thunderbolt where it's even faster. But with something like an Envoy, our drives are sustaining data rates that are 10, 15 times faster than some of the assumed equivalent SSD externals out there.
So you have new capacities for the Envoy Pro Electron and the Envoy Pro Mini. Tell us about the capacities. What should people be considering here?
Certainly, the Envoy Pro Mini, which is such a convenient drive, especially if you're going between multiple platforms. We might have USB-A on one computer or one device and USB-C on another device or even a tablet. Or you're even, we have folks that use these in the mixing decks where you can plug in the USB-C or USB-A depending upon the age of the deck. And now, we took that from 1 terabyte up to 2 terabytes. And these aren't how they say just thumb drives. I mean, these are full-on SSDs rated for ongoing heavy use and sustained write speeds. Sustained write speeds are 800, 900 megs a second, even up to 1,000 plus, nonstop. So these are super fast. They're rugged. They're durable, and you can't beat it especially if you're going to be using it to transfer data between whether it's your own devices or friends' devices, work, whatnot, because it has both USB-A and USB-C built into it. And then we move on to the new Envoy Pro Electron 4 terabyte, where we double the capacity. I say we also double the capacity. We double the capacity in the Mini from 1 terabyte up to 2 terabytes. So now there's 500, 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte in the Mini. And then in our Electron, which is waterproof, pretty much, I mean, just destruction proof. I mean, run it over with a bus and it will survive. And not only will your data be safe inside of it, it will still plug and play and go. Now that went from it was previously up to 2 terabytes, and that was doubled up to 4 terabytes just in the last, really the last few weeks, 2 months.
So you also have the new Atlas Pro CF Express. Tell me about that.
Sure, we brought out the very first CF Express PCI Gen 4 media cards for Sony and other platforms that use CF Express Type A. Now, these cards go up to 960 gigabyte. They sustain data rates close to 2,000 megs a second for ingest, and as fast today as pretty much any camera in the market with CFX-A can write and burst to. So very high durability, high performance. They're all Energize equipped. So if you're using our Energize enabled readers, it allows you to maintain all of our cards. And this is something whether it's our SD card or CF Express B cards or CFX-A cards. What people notice over the course of time is that these cards, especially more recently, because the capacities have gone up, performance demands have gone up, even more. And these cards, these camera cards are really being, pushed to their limits with today's camera technology, which is absolutely fantastic. But people have seen with these higher performance demands that they've caused the cars to, lack of a better way to put it, the cars start to slow down. They'll notice after a period of time in use that they're not getting the same burst speed, or maybe they can't record, at that resolution for as fast as they used to. And it's not because the cards get old, it's just because of the nature of how SSDs work and the internal mechanics of the card, and they need a reset. They need a cleaning, which the camera doesn't do, even when you initialize the card to the camera. And even a standard initialization on a computer doesn't. But Energize is something, there's a couple ways to do it. A low level can do it on most cards, but it takes a long time. It takes a long time to low level a card, and you're literally burning a full write cycle or more in the card, which reduces its lifespan. Energize, which all of our cards are enabled for, allows a task that takes less than 5 seconds to perform a internal factory, I guess you could say, cleaning of the card that doesn't waste precious write cycles on the card or diminish its life in any way, shape, or form. But whether the card's a day old, a month old, 5 years old, restores that card to its full maximum capability, which is pretty slick. But all these cards are being tested first of all, we extensively test in-house. I mean, some of the reasons we don't come out as quick, and we actually end up being the first here, and we busted tail, as we always do, on our test. And we didn't announce, we were not the first to announce, but we were the first to ship because we were doing the work. when we release anything, whether it's an external hard drive or a CF Express camera card or an SD card, whatever it may be, in addition to providing and collaborating with the camera manufacturers, we actually bring these cameras in, have these cameras on site, and do unbelievably extensive. I say unbelievably extensive because I was surprised a year ago, by it. Cameras used to be pretty easy. Today, if you don't do the testing, if you don't put the time in, that's when you see people in the field experiencing problems or having complaints. Now, this is not a fake it till you make it. This is don't release it unless it's perfect, because people are, I mean, the shots that anything, whether it doesn't matter whether it's, somebody at the soccer field or somebody at the Olympics or somebody, how do I say, well, on the ISS for all practical purposes, or in the Arctic, or, capturing that moment with a natural event that's not going to repeat itself. If you miss a shot, you can't make that shot back. If you miss a clip, it's not going to be the same. And, we're absolutely, the paranoid is the wrong word. I wouldn't even say paranoid. Paranoid, we're absolutely not. I guess it's the opposite. We are unbelievably thorough to make sure that our cards are going to be there and reliable for that moment that you can't replace.
That focus on the customer, I think, is probably what has helped you create this great fan base that you have. What words of wisdom do you have for others? You've given us some already in this business, or really any business, about what it takes to have this kind of longevity.
You pretty well hit it, right on, hit it square. It's about the customer and listening to the customer. Take feedback from the customer. I mean, it's intentions. I think we all have really good intentions, and certainly something I learned early on was not just to have the good intentions, but have the actions that support the result and the execution. You have to trust a lot of people in this business, but you also need to verify. And that verification, if you're going to put your name on it, you need to be sure that it's working correctly. I mean, the people who offer our products, to resell our solutions, that recommend our solutions, that's a trust that's earned. I mean, they've earned that trust, with whomever is listening to them or buying our solution from them. And we certainly never stop, working hard to doing the right thing so that the trust that they have in our product and our brand is deserved. So it's I guess, like, even on simple things, even whether even coming down to when somebody's going to be delivered. I was fortunate to learn early that people will fail that you depend upon behind the scenes, but my customer needs to have the information that I can back, so that even if somebody fails, there's certain things obviously you can't predict. I mean, COVID and other not so fun occurrences. There's always things that everybody has a reason to understand, but that which you can control, I mean, you absolutely have to control. We control very little in the grand and the bigger picture of life. But if you're going to say something's going to do something, it's your job to ensure that it's actually going to perform. You can't take somebody else's word, certainly for certain aspects. I mean, we can't deliver solutions, pick chipsets for banana suppliers without a lot of trust. But if we're putting our name on it, it's because we've actually done the verification, we've done the testing, we've done the engineering. And I'd ask that of anybody. It's really easy to put an RFQ out there and get back, I say, different quotes and commitments, but you have to, if it's going to be your name on the line with your customer, and you've got to make sure that you can't just say, well, they said it would work, or they said it was going to do this, or they said it was going to be, even if it comes down to the color of the enclosure, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, what you tell a customer, you have to be standing behind and responsible for. And it's not an excuse you can't point the finger at anybody else. It's your customer.
And you've also worked hard at eliminating whatever frustrations people typically experience when it comes to customer service. And
we certainly try. We have lots of good examples of. We learned, I mean, if you look at the whole evolution of OWC was, we really don't like how this works over here, or the experience that we've had over there, or the experience we're hearing, and that it's just typical of people going through this process or with this need. And we kind of evolved to be other world computing. Part of it was a whole. So we want to be a different world. We want to take a very different approach to what the customer interaction is. And we firmly believe, I mean, we're here for our customers, and we're here because of our customers, and we appreciate that opportunity each and every day. We're very grateful and thankful for that, and we have a lot of fun doing what we do, and that's it's something that, again, you can't take for granted. Never take your customer for granted.
Words of wisdom. Before I let you go, Larry, being a Star Trek fan and where we are today, what excites you about today's technology environment? Is it all the AI that evolves every day, or is it what is it that you find motivating and that generates enthusiasm?
We have all these different problems, and then I think we manufacture problems to a certain degree, but the excitement of technology is seeing that all the solutions that technology continues to bring, and and ultimately, I look at AI is exciting because it's an augmentation and it's another disruptor. But I mean, as technology advances, I mean, it's hard to really put the words. I mean, I think there's a lot of, it's just a lot of, reshaping of just our outlook on life that is yet to come. And I think I think over the course of time, we'll probably get back to some of the basic fundamentals that, that a lot of pundits, a lot of, how to say, whether it's on the political side, on the scientific side, there's a lot of dismissal of, what was past and what's, truly important in the world. And I look at AI, I look at all technology as we solve problems and augment what we can do every day. It gives us more time, I hope, to really tap our true human potential, because no technology really replaces people. Technology is at every level, whether it's AI or a device you plug into your computer, is there to enable you to do more and ultimately have more time to be human. So I think the most exciting thing is just how much time this technology has the potential to give us, as long as we're not just looking to have to fill ourselves with other busy work.
A lot of people waste time with with the thing that they hold in their hands all day.
Yeah, well, social media. I mean, if I had it, I'm not I'll just leave it like this. I'm not a social media fan, and it's pretty incredible the damage that social media does, the time it steals, and just the thief of the comparison is the thief that's created by the comparison that ultimately it drives and people that go through it, and it's hard. I mean, somebody sends you I try to avoid even going to Facebook to watch a video and link that folks when if I get a link on from somebody, because you watch one, hey, that's great, and all of a sudden the next one starts and the next one starts, and it's been a while since I fell into that trap. I was like, these algorithms are really, really good. It's pretty dangerous. I mean, it's bad stuff. There's a lot of good stuff there, but like everything else, in moderation and if it's deployed correctly. But it's all part of the human process. That my expectation is we'll figure it out.
Terrific. The site for more is owc.com. Larry O'Connor, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Hey, a pleasure, friend. And thanks for having me on, and hey, look forward to talking in the future.